Welcome everyone. In this lecture, I will tell you everything about the UNO board. So, first of all, let's begin with the pins. A little I have already told you about the pins, and the thing is that what the symbols mean and what should we have to connect to the pins. So, let's begin with the left bottom. First of all, we have two digital pins, pin number 0 and 1, labeled as RX and TX pin, where RX is for 0 and TX is on 1. These pins are known as transmitting and receiving pins. What it means is that when you need to communicate your device with the other equipments, like when you have to control your board with the mobile, you use a Bluetooth module and connect its TRX and RX pins to the Arduino TX and RX pin. More easy is that it's only used for foreign transmissions. In nearly 99% of cases, people use this pin when connecting a Bluetooth module. And now, as you can see here on Bluetooth module, also we have TX and RX labeled. These are directly connected to Arduino TX and RX pin. Other use for them is when you need to connect your board to other microcontroller board, like you need to connect your Arduino to Raspberry or any other microcontroller, then again these pins are used. After then we have pin number 2 to 13. These all are digital pins, so we have 11 digital pins but only 6 analog pins. Or the question is that why should we have 11 digital pins? So the basic reason is most of our electric components like transistors, MOSFETs, switches work on digital codes or in on and off condition, which are used to drive shades and most of the sensors, and also most of us are familiarized that our electronics work on digital signal. And it's also true that in reality there is no digital signals, all signals are analog, but we convert them and use in digital form. Till now we have achieved a large number of digital conversion of signals, so most of our equipments work on digital signals. And the other reason is for that is when we are building a motion robot or a moving robot, we use more than 4 motors, or generally 4 DC motor and 1 servo motor is used, and for that we require a large number of digital pins. That's why we have 11 digital pins. And after this, what we connect on these pins? So any component working on and off condition can be used in these pins, like an LED or a motion detector sensor which gives on for motion and off for non-motion can be run on these pins. And also every motor is connected to these pins indirectly. Some sensors that work on digital pins are IR motion sensor, ultrasonic sensor, touch sensor, etc. Before connecting, you can check their connections directly on Google Images. Now, one more thing is that if you want to have grip on Arduino, then try to search more and more on Google instead of watching connections in video. It makes you have skills of building on your own. And also connections are not fixed. You can use any of digital pin for digital sensor and any of analog pin for analog sensor. Also, number of connections are neither fixed. You can connect more than one sensor or equipment at a single pin. And now, if we talk about analog pins, then the equipments which send continuous signals like light sensor, color sensor, etc. are connected on analog pins. You can check whether a device is analog or digital by checking its configuration, and mostly on analog pins we generally use analog sensors. Now, to make any component work, we need to provide power. So, basically we have 5 power pins in which we have 2 ground pins, 1 VCC pin and a 5 volt followed by a 3.3 volt pin. And they are only used to provide power to the equipment, and we cannot provide power to the Arduino by using these pins. But sometimes people use these power pins to power up the Arduino. But I suggest you to avoid that because it will damage your board and any equipment you are using. Now, as I told you that every equipment needs power to run, and even everyone is agree with it. Without power we cannot run anything. So with every equipment, generally sensors, we have a ground pin and a VCC pin, which can be imagined as a negative and positive terminal of a device. Negative is for ground and positive for VCC. They are most important one because without power you cannot run any equipment. And now one more thing I want to mention here is that if you are using a 9 volt battery to power up the Arduino, it will only power up the Arduino. What I mean to say is that if you are using other equipments like any sensor, then you have to provide additional power for that or additional batteries for that. But generally when we are connecting heavy loads like motors and other large equipments, we generally use this shield and power up the shields by using other batteries, and they will separate the power to the motors. Now here we have 2 more pins, that is 3.3 volt and 5 volt power pin. They are used when we have to provide specific voltage to any equipment. It's written on back of the equipment that it's work on 5 volt or either 3.3 volt. So if it's written, we generally use these ports to connect them and power them. Rest working of other parts are explained before. One more thing is these 6 pins. As I told earlier, they are used to program the Arduino. For this you need a USB programmer module, and this is like this. Here I shown, and these pins are connected to the Arduino pin by using female jumper wires. And last thing is that the IC uses Atmega 328. So thank you for watching. In the next video we will learn how to work on Arduino and Arduino IDE.